Boys, did you see Everton have climbed their way out of the relegation zone? They have firmly placed 4 points between themselves and Luton Town. Looks like Sean Dyche has got them safe. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from three friends who support different clubs. My name is James. I support Arsenal. Down below, that is Sean. He supports Tottenham Hotspurs. And over that way, that's Brad. He supports a team that helped support Everton in their bid to not be relegated this year, who will be unnamed this week out of shame.
Pensioners FC.
Yes, we will. We will not be speaking about them because it is shameful to do so. But before we get into it tonight, we got the review of match weeks 15 and 16. We would ask you to hit that subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell, drop a comment on our YouTube video. Join our Discord. It's in the description of this video or the podcast that you're watching. Interact with us. Let us know how you're thinking, what you're feeling. And share it with a buddy. We would really appreciate all those things. All right, boys, match weeks 15 and 16. We do have one comment from Jimmy that we need to get to. It's actually 3 comments about 3 different things. Sean, he wants to let you know that he's only his official stance towards Red Card Radio mild inconveniences. He only accepts inconveniences from you. So they have to be progenited from Sean.
Listen, I jumped the gun there. I should have let Sean post that one. That one's on me.
It's true.
We ask for your forgiveness. Second point, he didn't really watch much of the Spurs City game, but he is very happy with the terrible refereeing call from Simon Hooper. There were some other choice words towards Manchester City in the comment, but this is a family-friendly podcast. I believe there's young children. Jack watches this podcast. We don't want to harm the impressionable young minds.
Oh yeah, it's monetized. That's why we've monetized.
Sean, we're making money off this podcast, Sean.
I am.
Is Brad embezzling money again? Like, I haven't seen any. I'm the host
again. I like that you put again in there.
Look, the co-hosts get paid, and since you're on the host title,
okay,
you get the host title. That's your payment.
Got it.
We love how selfless you are, James.
Yes. All right. And then his point 3 is that he would not take Marcus Rashford at Liverpool, as per our conversation last week about if Marcus Rashford is washed or not. So that's interesting. We also anecdotally asked Tamzid off air if he would take Rashford at Liverpool, and he said there's not a chance in hell. So apparently these Liverpool fans really have some strong dislike towards the Manchester United.
I believe
forward.
He said, and I quote, Marcus Rashford is just Danny Welbeck, the same player. Was his exact quote.
Yeah, more or less. That's what he said. That's a good
Probably
one.
A lot more if I know Tamzid.
So Sean, I'm seeing here there's something that's run down about like a view around town or something. Like what? Can you?
Yes, boys. Listen, I know you guys have been keeping up with the other leagues, the Championship, League 1, League 2. I know you guys have been keeping up with it all year.
Okay.
It's like
no, not at all.
I know you guys have been keeping up with it, but I want the listeners at home to be more informed.
Got it.
So what I have done is we're going to have a brief flyover, just to get something out. A little rapid, quick pace little segment here. You ready for this?
We should pick a sponsor real quick. This is brought to you by
Sunoco Fuel.
Oh yeah,
because we got to keep going, keep it going fast.
Perfect.
If they're good enough to sponsor NASCAR, they're good enough to sponsor this segment. All right, we're going to start with the championship. James, I know you guys have been paying attention to this. Ipswich, right? They're second place. Kieran McKenna got the boys playing good. McKenna has got the boys playing so good, the likes we haven't seen since the George Burley era. And I know you guys remember that fondly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fighting Harry Winks in Leicester City. Fighting Harry Winks, I just want you to know that. They're leading the league. And this league is really tight, James.
Oh, how tight, Sean?
Oh, it's tighter than abs on a Michelangelo sculpture. You go from sixth place Sunderland, 5 points away is 15th place Coventry. Shout out to Coventry for being in the finals of the playoff last year. Sheffield
in it still.
Yeah, apparently 5 points away from 6. Get in there. Sheffield was my pick to get promoted last year. Granted, that was a want, not a prediction. 2 wins, winning streak, James. Winning streak, 2 wins. When you're on the bottom, 2 wins counts.
2 in a row.
Stoke City is managerless. It's really rainy night in Stoke, huh? Rotherham, more like Rottingham. Am I right? Also, in the middle of the table, nobody getting promoted, nobody getting demoted. We have the city committee. We have Cardiff, Hull, Norwich, Bristol, Coventry, Swansea, Birmingham, Stoke City. Manchester City has a real vested interest in none of these people getting promoted because they're the only city in the Premier League. All right, on to League One. The absolute Premier League legends, Portsmouth and Bolton, are leading this league. Brad, I know you're just picturing the same thing I'm picturing. JJ Okocha from Bolton, he's screaming up the wings. He's got a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and boom, Portsmouth goalkeeper David James stops it. Epics.
Yes.
Derby County has a perfect form, 5 wins out of 5. Is that the Wayne Rooney effect? Huh? Yeah. Reading relegation, maybe possible. They're winning games now, though. Wigan are drawing more than Bob Ross, and this league is really tight, James.
How tight, Sean?
This league is tighter than a gnat's ass stretched over a rain barrel, because you've got second place Bolton on 39 points, just 8 points away. You drop all the way down to 11th place Shrewsbury, and this is the league of mediocrity. Because these are all the teams that have no wins in their last 5 games. You've got Wickham, Leighton, Cambridge, Burton, Exeter, and Carlisle. 6 teams with no wins in their last 5. This is League One, more like League None. Am I right?
Yeah.
Moving on to League Two. Perfect form from Barrow. We discussed that. I mean, you guys knew that already.
Yeah.
Who the heck is Stockport? 53 points, huh? That's pretty good.
Yeah, I would say
Wrexham, bring on the Deadpool and Rob McElhenney. Sitting second place, doing great. Notts County doing the double promotion, double times, huh?
Hey.
And this league is really tight, James.
Wait. How tight, Sean?
This league is tighter than a camel's ass in a sandstorm, and I kid you not. You've got 8 points separating 9th place Swindon and 20th Salford.
Whoa.
11,
that's tight.
11 positions. Yeah, it's tighter than a camel's ass in a sandstorm. I just said that. Keep up. We've got a relegation situation because these teams are out of here. Forest Green Rovers and Sutton, they got 1 foot out the door. They're not going to score many points. However, this brings me to the bow and the entire segment. League Two has the coolest logos in the sport, period. We've got Doncaster, who has a Viking-looking guy. Looks pretty awesome. Morecambe has a shrimp. Who doesn't like shrimp? Mansfield Town's got a dude pointing a sword. Bradford City's got a bird on top of their crest. That's pretty cool. I like those already. And Walsall, also a bird. So there you have it. That's the buzz around town. That's the view from the Championship, League One, League Two. You heard it here first.
I hate to break it to you, Sean, but any club that has a chicken on their crest is
bottom tier.
That ain't the play.
Too late. I already gave the top 5 coolest logos in the. You know what? You had a chance to make your own top 5 coolest logos in League Two, but you decided not to. I've already put down the official version of it, and they're.
I guess that is a fair point. So I will. Yeah, damn, I missed my shot.
They're in the top 5, 2 of them.
Well, thank you for that. That 10,000-foot view of the rest of England. We sometimes
I think you like the city committee, huh?
Yeah, I did, because we sometimes get accused here of Red Card Radio of only focusing on the big boys, like Manchester City. One could say. I mean, it's not like they lost to Aston Villa midweek and then beat Luton Town on the weekend. I mean, not like we want to focus on that. So it's probably better. It's probably better to focus on Aston Villa, right?
Yeah, they're in a crazy run. In succession, they have beaten Tottenham. I believe that was at our place.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, Tottenham at our place. They beat City
at Villa Park.
At Villa Park, and Arsenal at Villa Park.
They've had a good run.
In 10 days. It was a midweek weekend.
They had to have looked at that run. Well, there was a Bournemouth draw in the middle there.
Okay.
So, but their last 5, they've picked up, what is this, 13 points out of their last available 15. That's super impressive. They've had quite a run recently, and we kind of posed the question last week whether or not Aston Villa were legit title contenders. And I don't remember which one of you guys scoffed at the question, but one of you guys scoffed at the question. It was Brad. Okay,
it was me. I like my crow because they came through this and crashed. I didn't think they'd get all 6 points here.
Yeah, I think my point to you was what happens when they are 1 point behind Arsenal in a week after they've won both games, and they did exactly that. Now the City game and the Arsenal game were very different for them because they really did. I think they took the game to City. They really dominated City. City had one shot on target in like the 20th minute and didn't have another shot on target. That's insane. The amount of control that Aston Villa exerted over Manchester City, just wild. The Arsenal game statistically was not in their favor, but they got a goal and they didn't concede any goals. Now,
that's how you win games, James.
It absolutely. That is you score more than the other team scores. I think I saw that as one of those loading screen hints on FIFA back in the day. It was revolutionary. Unai Emery, obviously a student of the game.
He played FIFA 04.
Yeah, man, he is just living it up. But it really is impressive. Yeah,
I felt hard done by our Villa result,
as do I about ours personally.
But I felt like we outplayed them for 90 minutes. But the truth is that the scoreline read that they scored more goals, and as we just covered, that means you win the game.
I do have a bone to pick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. You can get eight boneless wings on Wednesday nights for $6.99. Just tell them Sean sent you. Buffalo Wild Wings. Hit us up, info.redcarradio@gmail.com. But I got a bone to pick with Arsenal Twitter. Arsenal Twitter have been on a crusade recently against the PGMOL and the Referees Association, and I generally am on crusade with them against these people because the refs suck and VAR sucks, and it does seem everybody thinks that there's an agenda against them, and I think that there's an agenda against Arsenal, but whatever. But the Arsenal Twitter is up in arms over this Villa game because there should probably have been a penalty called against Douglas Luiz on a foul he committed against Gabriel Jesus in the box. Should have resulted in a penalty for us, especially considering 4 hours earlier on Saturday, Crystal Palace got a similar penalty where the defender goes through the back of the offensive player's leg and kicks them in like their calf area. So 4 hours earlier, it was a penalty, but then 4 hours later, it's not a very similar situation. Like it's not, that's a little weird. So I think there's a legitimate gripe there. And then of course the Kai Havertz goal that was ruled off for handball that the referee apparently saw, even though there was people in front of him, he could see the handball. That one's a little strange, but then the most egregious one is the elbow to Eddie Nketiah off the ball. This is the second time in like a month that an Arsenal player has gotten an elbow off the ball, and it's resulted in a yellow card for the player. Also, interestingly enough, the referee, there's a video of the referee very obviously not seeing the incident, and still giving the yellow card to Douglas Carlos. And it's just like, how? Anyway, so
he's getting radio in his ear.
Probably the linesman or something
from the linesman saying, "Hey, you got something over here."
Yeah, but at the same time, the fact that VAR doesn't look at that and say that's a dangerous play, you should go look at it again, is a little weird to me. That one's the most egregious in my opinion. But the reason why I have a bone to pick is because while all of that is legitimate, that's not the reason why Arsenal lost this game. Arsenal lost this game because we could not get a shot on target. Martin Odegaard had 2 or 3 very, very good opportunities, just missed them. Eddie Nketiah had a free header about 12 yards out and just skied it. So we had plenty of opportunities. We made plenty of opportunities, and we just didn't score, and that's on us. So
didn't didn't VAR correctly, like they found the handball? So it would have been...
Well, they claim that they found the handball. Okay, but the issue with the handball is that if you're going to say that it hit Kai Havertz, sure, that's fine, but it hit Matty Cash first. It hit Matty Cash's hand first.
Right, but if it's a goal, then it doesn't matter.
But why is
handball is?
But also, it's. I don't think it's as conclusive as people want to make it, being that it hits Kai Havertz's arm. The different angles make it seem. What VAR found was that it was. They said it was confirmed, okay, which means that they saw handball. I'm not sold by that because it's inconclusive on multiple angles. The reason why you can't overturn it is because the ref called it a handball on the field, even though he couldn't see it. Anyway, so like I'm not. This is not a Joelinton situation that we're not talking about anymore. This is a very different situation. But if you're gonna call it a handball on Kai Havertz, it hits Matty Cash's hand first.
Yeah.
It hits hands first, so I'm just saying.
So then it's a penalty.
Maybe. But anyway, we probably would have missed the penalty too because we didn't bring our shooting boots. They were all in London. So that's the bone I needed to pick with Arsenal Twitter. So that's it. We do have to talk about this Spurs Newcastle game though. I know you're chomping at the bit to talk about this game, Sean.
No, well, yes. I'm not going to take a victory lap on Newcastle. They're just as injured as we are. Yeah, it feels good. I will say this. There was an unfortunate fan beside me at the pub that apparently had forgot what happened last year. Because I
also forgot. Could you remind me what happened last year?
We had a chance later in the game. So we ended up getting the penalty in the 85th. I think it was somewhere in the 70s. We missed a shot. And I was like, oh, man. He was like, no, we just need to hang on to this lead. And I'm like, fuck that. They beat us 7-1 last year. I didn't forget. They embarrassed us. You did 6-1. They embarrassed us. Put the foot on the throat. Screw them. Well, like, F that.
The reason why this is... you didn't score 5 goals in 20 minutes.
That was the embarrassing part.
They embarrassed you. They embarrassed you last year.
Yeah.
And even if you won the game 6-1, it wouldn't have been quite the same because you didn't score 5 goals in 20 minutes. But I agree with your sentiment. Like, stab them and turn the knife. What did you think about the Joelinton challenge on Porro towards the end of the game?
I don't remember it specifically. You want to run?
I forget who Newcastle player crosses the ball into the box. Joelinton challenges for it. Porro wins it clearly, and Joelinton just like shoulder checks, shoves the stuffing out of Porro, and Porro like flips over and like lands on like the back of his shoulders and his neck.
Oh yeah, I remember it now. He was shoved so hard that he flipped over.
Yeah.
I think you absolutely have to call that when there's that much force in it. Where we argued about the thing we're not going to argue about again about a player just having a hand on a back. You can't tell if he's locked his elbow or not, or if he's just feeling where the player is. That is generally arguable. The fact that Porro can't make himself flip forward.
Yeah.
In that way that he did.
I think
it was clearly hit very hard.
I think Joelinton got a yellow card for that. I'm pretty sure he got a yellow card for it. Is that sufficient for you?
Probably. It was not. The 2 criteria I give to Brittany or Jack when we have them look at red card situations are, is it an intent to injure, a denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, or is it so egregiously reckless that it becomes endangerment? Those are the three criteria that a red card falls under.
I think it hits.
And I don't think it was any of those three.
I think it hits two of those. I think what was the first criteria again? It was
intent to injure.
And okay, I don't think he intended to injure him.
He didn't intend to injure,
but it was grossly overpowerful. Like he very easily could, if Porro lands on his neck wrong there, like he could have been.
It could have been bad.
Seriously injured. And so for me, it was very reckless from Joelinton. I'm not surprised he gets a yellow card for it. I'm not necessarily saying that it should have been a red card. I'm just saying that like that's something we need to, I guess, maybe be on the lookout for out of Joelinton's game, because he did it out of frustration. He was upset about the results. He was mad, and he lashed out.
I think if that was a straight red, Joel would feel hard done by that call.
I could see it being justified as a straight red card. It was very reckless, and Porro could have been very seriously injured.
I'll tell you, it was not as bad as Romero's red.
The on Enzo?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
That was less egregious to me than Joelinton, and I still wouldn't say that Joelinton's was a straight red. It is close.
Are you saying Romero's was less egregious than Joelinton's?
Yes.
Well, that's because Romero is like he's
kicking a ball. He's making a football motion.
He's actively playing the ball, and he's not actively trying to hurt Fernandez. The issue with it is that Fernandez's feet are planted on the ground, and when he catches him like that, you get full studs to the high shin. That's unfortunately always a red card in the Premier League these days. So it is what it is. Fulham scored 5 on West Ham.
That's impressive.
They have scored 10 goals in their last 2 games, by the way.
This result was so big that I got trolled on Twitter today. I thought I saw a headline from a fake Twitter account that said David Moyes had been sacked, and they linked to a Sky Sports article. And it was really an article from 2018 when he left West Ham the first time. But like the result was so bad, the Fulham West Ham result was so bad for West Ham that I got trolled by Twitter because of it. Liverpool beat Palace. They win 2-1. That sees them go top of the league. So right now, and we'll take a look at the league table maybe in our preview episode. So you might want to tune in for that. We haven't been looking at the league table as consistently, let's say. But that does take them to the top of the league. And then can we have commiserations for Manchester United? Bournemouth puts 3 past them.
Why are we commiserating that? We should be celebrating that.
Oh, did I use the wrong word?
You did. You used the very wrong word at this at Red Card Radio.
Let's pop some champagne. What's wrong at Manchester United other than like it's Manchester United? What's going on with Ten Hag?
I don't know if it's Ten Hag or not. Players don't care.
You think they're all checked out?
I would disagree.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would disagree.
Okay.
I like to poop on United as much as the next person.
Yeah, let's do it.
But if you take a look at their 3rd place finishing team, they're starting 11 from last year, right? So De Gea gone from the team,
unnecessarily gone. Right.
Absolutely.
They pulled the contract from him. They signed it and they said, "Now, Shredder."
Let's take it. I'm going to go position by position. Wan-Bissaka, constantly injured. Varane.
No, he's not injured. He's never played.
Bissaka is constantly injured.
He's been injured a little bit this year, bro. That's true.
Varane is always on the verge of being injured.
And he
hasn't been chosen.
He's had a falling out with Ten Hag.
Martinez, he's just been injured. He's not constantly injured. He is just grossly injured.
Injured this
Luke
year.
Shaw, constantly injured.
He's back
Casemiro, injure-ish, no. but he's also like 38. Like let's call it what it is.
That's why I don't spend 50 million pounds on a 38.
Eriksen, been supplanted by Mount for whatever reason, but also a little bit injured. Bruno, he's there every week like a rock. That's the only one that's the consistent one. And then what do you got across the top? You've got Rashford, who's just out of form.
Højlund.
And that's being kind. No, they're starting 11 last year.
Oh, they're last year. Oh, okay.
That finished. So who would be their striker? So we're missing two.
But Martial, Antony. Oh no, they signed.
Antony was there.
They signed Weghorst last
year. Antony got off the field issues. He had to be out for most of the year. I don't know if is he back permanently now?
Back.
Okay, but he was out for a number of weeks. And Sancho and Martial injured, out of the club because he pissed off the manager. Like, so you look at their 11 from last year, they're just never there.
Yeah, okay. The big one is Lisandro Martinez. Missing Martinez and then forcing De Gea out. They forced De Gea out, got Onana, paid a king's ransom for a goalkeeper. Like, they paid Chelsea money for a goalkeeper in Onana. And he is just not good. Onana is just not good.
If you're if you're the Glazers.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second, but okay, sorry, go first. I'm sorry.
If you're the Glazers and you're looking around the league and you just paid $50 million for Onana, and you're looking at Tottenham that paid $13 million for Vicario, how are you feeling?
Or Arsenal, who are going to get David Raya for $28 million all in,
30 something like that.
Yeah,
like I think we're paying $25 million plus the $3 million fee or something like that. Like.
Yeah, the graphic I sent to you guys, we didn't really have a discussion around it. There was a lot going on in the chat, but it was that Raya is the statistically top sweeper keeper in the league. His touches are the farthest out from his goal line on average than anybody else.
I believe it.
Now that partly probably plays into the fact that you guys are usually up and controlling the game, which is a symptom of being a really good team.
Yeah.
So his touches would be higher up the pitch because he's higher. And Vicario, same thing. He is actually tied with Alisson for second place for farthest touches from the goal line. And I thought that graph was really interesting of styles of play, and all three of those teams are in the top 5 in the league. And maybe that style of play is a lot better than a lot of others.
Brad, before you get to your thought, I have another goalkeeper statistic about this. But apparently,
it was punches.
No. It's save percentage of shots faced and save percentage. Do you know who the number one worst goalkeeper in the Premier League is? Who has the lowest save percentage?
I would say Onana.
It's David Raya. Do you know who the second? Do you know the second worst is?
Ramsdale.
Ederson.
Oh, that makes
because they don't get a lot of shots on them.
Yeah. But when they get shots, they just like so many shots are blocked, like and things like that. That like the few shots that trickle through apparently end up being goals. So it's interesting. Brad, you were gonna bring up. I think you were gonna ask about the Glazers or something.
No. I was gonna say so. It's Ten Hag's fault for Sancho. Ten Hag's fault for Varane.
I think generally, yeah, like he has not managed them well.
But they bought an upgrade for Martial, right? In Højlund, supposed to be an upgrade. They bought an upgrade for Eriksen. A healthy Mount is better than Eriksen now. I won't say Eriksen in his prime, but I think that's an easy statement to agree to. They bought Amrabat to replace 38-year-old Casemiro, right? Like, he's replaced the players that you've said. They've just failed or been hurt. McTominay has been their best player this year.
Did they really sign Amrabat to replace Casemiro though? Because like Casemiro,
not the same player.
Like Casemiro didn't seem unsettled at the beginning of the season. I think he's only become unsettled because of the current state of Manchester United. It's so toxic there right now that it seems like he's become unsettled.
Which I think is kind of the problem, right?
It's so toxic there.
Like, you can't really do. I mean, what do? You fire Ten Hag, and the players know they can be toxic, and it spirals, right?
I don't know how
you stick with Ten Hag, and you're okay. losing. You're okay with this toxic environment. You have to get these players gone.
You have to let Ten Hag win in the same way that Arsenal let Arteta win against Mesut Ozil and Aubameyang and Lacazette and Pepe. You have to let Ten Hag win. If Ten Hag isn't afforded the opportunity to get rid of the wrong characters in the locker room, I mean, they let him do it to Ronaldo. And so, like, if you're going to let him do it to arguably the greatest player to have ever played football, then you have to let him do it to lesser people, right?
I don't disagree, but does this change with Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in and taking over sporting control?
It absolutely does.
I don't think Ten Hag survives Ratcliffe coming in taking sporting control.
Yeah, Enos is going to want their own guy.
This brings up a good point, James. Because Chelsea's a different breed, United's a different breed.
Mm-hmm.
To a certain extent, Liverpool's cut of the same ilk, and their fan base expects here.
Yeah,
and when they aren't, they want changes.
It's so toxic.
Arsenal and Tottenham are a little different in that, and Tottenham in our own way, because we would like to finish fourth. If we finish fourth every year, the fan base is largely happy with that.
I don't know, man. Like
Arsenal are not like that.
I disagree. I disagree with Arsenal. Arsenal wanted to be good. It may have been.
They ran out Wenger. Like they ran out one of the best managers of all time.
You personally.
Okay, me.
From the years of about 2010 to whenever he was fired, 15, 16, somewhere around there it was. Were you okay with where you were finishing?
Quick point of order. He wasn't fired. He decided to step away at the end of the year, which is afforded to Arsene Wenger. Was I okay with finishing
second, third, fourth? Yeah.
It depends on the year. So it depends on like I think if you asked me at the beginning of the season, I would be like, no, I think Arsenal need to win. There were a couple years I remember I looked at somebody when I was back working at Best Buy after college. Some guy came up, it was like August, and he was like giving me a hard time. It must have been like August of 2013. He gave me a hard time about Arsenal losing early in the season. And I looked at him and said, no, Arsenal are going to win the league. And this was in 2013. So like we didn't have, like, we had just sold Van Persie probably to United. We were in a transitional period. And
Giroud's coming into the club.
So like I think I still expected, and it's weird. I'm a bad person to ask that question because I became an Arsenal fan in 2006. We went to the Champions League final, and I was like, "Oh man, this Arsenal team, they're fantastic." And then we didn't win anything again until 2014. And so like when I started my journey with Arsenal, like obviously I learned about the history and things like that. I learned about the Invincibles and like winning the double and things like that. But it's just like we were just so mediocre for so long that I didn't have the expectation. Perhaps I think Arsenal fans, especially like North London based Arsenal fans and Arsenal fans who have been fans for 20 and 30 years, maybe 30 years because I've almost been a fan for 20 years. I think that their expectation of Arsenal every season is winning the league. And so, I mean, like they ran Wenger out. Like there were the Wenger out protests and the Wenger out like vitriol really started around like 2012. Like there were calls. It started much earlier than when he actually left, and it went through waves, right? Like so it would get really toxic, and then we win the FA Cup. And it would be less toxic, and it would be like, oh well, he's won the FA Cup. Let him leave on a high. And so, but it went through waves. And was I okay finishing fourth and being in the Champions League? Probably. But was the greater Arsenal fan base okay finishing fourth and being in the Champions League? I don't think so. I think that the greater fan base was like, we expect more from Arsenal. And at this point, I expect more from Arsenal. James, in 2023, 2024, I expect Arsenal to be challenging for the Premier League title every season. I expect us to be getting out of the Champions League group stage every season. I mean, like I would like to see us in the round of 8 every year, but like round of 16 is bare minimum in the Champions League. Challenging for the title, deep runs in the FA Cup. Like these are bare minimums, and if we don't see these things, then the season is a disappointment for me.
Yeah, I think it's slightly different over at Tottenham. Although we have the same expectations as you guys, we are just more lenient.
I'm not sold that Tottenham fans have the same expectations as Arsenal fans.
Yeah. And
I
here's the thing with why
I have the same expectations, but we should at minimum be in the top 4.
But that's already that's already a different expectation. If I'm saying we need to be fighting for the league, there's a level difference there.
There's only 2 spots different.
But there's huge. But you would agree with me that there's a huge gulf in class between Manchester City and whoever finished 4th last year. Who finished 4th last year? Newcastle. There was a huge gulf in class, right? You would agree with that, right?
That's expecting this, and you're expecting 4th.
What do you hold?
Like Arsenal are expecting a cup. It's a number 1 dad trophy.
Oh dang!
Charlotte made it.
Oh
yeah. But this is this is the difference, right? Is your minimum is I want to be in Europe. You want the Arsene Wenger trophy.
Where James is saying I want
the cup. we have rarely derailed that. I'm sorry, Sean.
No, it's okay. Where I was going with that was that we seem more lenient.
Okay.
As a fan base, it has gotten worse as our younger fans on Twitter have experienced. The ones that were born and only have experienced 2015 to now as a fan.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that don't understand. Like sometimes you finish 8th, man.
I think it didn't help Tottenham that they hired 3, or maybe not 3, but they hired.
It was the world-class managers.
Yeah, they hired Conte.
Well, not Mourinho, but
they hired Mourinho, and then they hired Conte, and like these are pedigree managers. These are win a trophy. Jose Mourinho has never been somewhere and not won a trophy,
except Tottenham.
Yes,
because they sacked him right before the League Cup final. I'm convinced he would have won that League Cup final.
And I think, Sean, where like, and as somebody as an outsider, as the one person here with the most toxic fan base on Twitter, I think what you're thinking of is Arsenal during Arteta's like come up, right? During the years where they were where Chelsea is now, right? 9th, 10th, 8th, 7th.
They weren't
12th. Not 12th.
You're at 12th.
I'm sure. Mid-table, right?
All right, mid-table. There we go.
And we remember those because recency bias, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where your thoughts are coming from with the Arsenal fan base. But no, Arsenal fans used to be the most obnoxious fans ever when they were winning everything.
At least at Chelsea and United, and then as far as toxic, when it gets bad, Liverpool are right there.
Liverpool is toxic for a different reason, though. Liverpool fans are toxic for a different reason. In my
Arsenal
opinion.
seem below that as far as leniency.
Okay, what I would say,
there's between toxic and like high expectations.
Arrogant. I think that toxic versus arrogant is a different way to look at it. I think toxic is more of like an insular thing.
That's what I mean. You guys don't attack your own as hard as Liverpool. Man, Liverpool and Chelsea and United.
I think you need to spend like 5 minutes watching AFTV and then watching and then seeing how the other circles of the internet react to Arsenal fan TV.
Come on, I don't count AFTV as your actual fans. Those are dudes just screaming things into.
They interview people who just left the Emirates. So like,
yes, they do fan interviews, bro.
Do fan interviews outside the stadium. So like,
that has to be set up.
Obviously,
there's no way people think like that.
There are personalities. There are personalities on AFTV. Like, I'm not gonna say that there's not personalities, but then they do just pick random people who come up. Obviously, people want to be interviewed. So like, if you want to be interviewed by AFTV, you have like an agenda in a degree. But like, this is in the weeds. But Arsenal's fan base is insularly very toxic at times. And the issues with other fan bases reacting to Arsenal fans is that they perceive us as being arrogant. And they're like, Arsenal, you guys haven't won a Premier League title in 20 years. Like, you guys haven't. Oh, you won a couple FA Cups. Who cares? And we still contend that we're at least the third biggest club in the nation. And other fan bases are like, well, you guys are just arrogant, and no one cares about like the history anymore. And so like that's we're perceived as arrogant in the other circles. I really liked this conversation. I thought it was really intriguing. We do need to get out, or we're a little bit long at this point. But check back later this week. We'll have a preview of match week 17. We will take a look at the Premier League table, see where everyone is shaking out. And then, so drop a comment down below. Let us know how you think your fan base is perceived like, or if you think Arsenal is toxic. Or Chelsea. We all know Chelsea's toxic.
We know Chelsea's toxic. That's not an easy one. That's the easiest. Yeah, Chelsea is toxic.
Hit us up on X. That guy over there, it's at KSBradG. Down below, it's at Whiteheart_Sean. I'm at James Tiffany. Collectively, we can be reached at redcard_radio. We look forward to interacting with you guys next time. And until then, enjoy some Champions League football because it's on right now. But we will see you all soon.